Hello and welcome to another Guns Contractors video. Today it's the bank holiday weekend and it's time to catch up with some long overdue jobs. I've had this stuff sat in the shed now for a good 5 or 6 weeks or so, and it's time, all the vehicles are here all together, it's time to get this job done. So today what I'm going to do is install a tyre sealant. This is a product, I'm not sponsored by this at all. I paid it's about 860 quid, I think, plus the VAT to get this stuff here for, I'm going to do the JCB behind me, going to do my dumper, I'm going to do my little 50 horsepower compact tractor as well, because it's classic for getting thorns in the tyres, and I'm also going to do my Land Rover with its, bless it, 25-year-old rims and you know, leaky, yeah, it's just leaking out the rims really. So in theory, I should solve a few little inherent punctures that I've got, slow punctures. The tractor's got a little slow puncture, this has got a slow puncture on the back, you know, stuff that takes like a month or so to go down, or maybe, you know, 2 or 3 months, but it's annoying nonetheless when you think, well, if you jump in it and you haven't used it for a bit, you've got to go and put some air in the tyre. So the plan is that for 860 quid I solve not just my inherent little punctures that I've got going on that are virtually impossible to source and fix myself, they're so slow, but also, of course, to stop any potential future breaks. Now, I saw this product at the Lammer show back in January and thought, yeah, it looked a great product, to be honest. I've heard about tyre sealants before, played around with them and things like wheelbarrows and mountain bikes back in the day as well, of course, and they had that kind of gel stuff. It mixed feelings with all of that, really. But this stuff really impressed me. You know, you see these demonstrations, they have a tyre and they either stab a nail or a screwdriver through it or a bit of rebar or whatever. And of course you've got the air, you know, you can hear the air coming out, and they literally just spin the wheel and suddenly the noise stops. And you think, well, that's very, very impressive. So, and to see them do it, you know, over and over again to a tyre throughout the day, it was quite impressive. So I thought, well, if it can do that, you know, it's doing it in a show, okay, there's no mud and all the bits that can complicate these sort of things, but I thought it's got to be worth a go, even if it can solve these little bugbear slow punctures that I've got going on various vehicles. So 860 quid later, plus the VAT, and I've got myself 3 tubs of gear, because of course I'm doing all these vehicles. The great thing actually with Air Seal, I have to say, fair play to them, I spoke to a guy on the phone and said, look, these are the tyre sizes I've got. He worked out the quantities I needed, etc. And that was basically how we arrived at where we are. So they're really, really useful, and they've been pretty good. It came out a couple of days later on the courier, nice and simple. I've also had to buy the pump, which is in the box at the end there, that I'll have to assemble, and we put that on top of one of these cartons by the look of it. I have watched their YouTube video of how to do this, so by no means take this as a good way of doing it, because it's my first time. Always good to do it in front of the camera. But the plan will be, I'm going to start with the tractor because that's in the gate first, nearest the compressor. Got my compressor. I'm going to get the pump set up, and in theory you can pump this stuff in with air in the tyre. It'll you know, sort of pressurise the container, and you can the pump will sort of overbear the 30 or 40 psi that you can have in a tyre. They do say if it's any more than 40 psi, you should drop your tyre down to that kind of pressure, because the pump can only do so much, right? It'd be very difficult to pump against anyway. So I shouldn't have a problem with the vehicles I've got here. Pretty sure everything runs less than 30, all of it really. So that's the plan. Should be a simple job. Take the valve core out, stick the hose on, pump the right amount of squirts in for each tyre, and I've got a chart of all of that. And that should be, in theory, job done. Replace your valve core, and that's it. I've got some spare valve cores, because this machine particularly is... it likes throwing a valve core when you know, pump the tyre or just check your pressures, which is fun in the morning when you're looking to go out. But I dare say a couple of the other machines will have pretty old, well, the original valve cores in them. So got a few spares of them. Otherwise, got a beanie supplied by Air Seal. Probably the wrong time of year. We need some sunglasses now. The sun has finally made a return this year, which is great to see. So I'm going to get on and I'll let you know how it goes. Well, so far so good. Assembly of the pump hasn't actually been too taxing. It pretty much all comes ready to go. You've got to just screw your handle on, screw your pipe onto there. Everything is set up. Got my quick adapter on the end for the valves, and we're managing to get away with some traditional farming tools. We've got an adjustable spanner and a random screwdriver on the go, and I found this lying in one of the cabs as well. So we're doing quite well here, typically farmer. Tea on the go, of course, as well, and I would have the radio on, but that'll get me demonetized, so we can't go with that. Now, what I need to do is set the pump handle up so that it basically gives it the exact right amount every pump that I do. So every time I pull it right up and push it down, I know I've got like a fixed amount in. And they tell you what the measurement is. So I need to look it up again just to make sure. 375 mil that this collar here needs to be. So I can just undo this collar, pull my pump up pretty much all the way. It's a little bit stiff at the moment because obviously it's in its home. Find 375 mil, loosen the collar, and the bottom of the collar needs to be at that. So that's where that wants to be. Not particularly difficult. Use the spanner of all spanners to spanner it with. Nice and tight so we don't lose that position. Beautiful. And we're now, every time we pump, imagine that's in the bucket, we will only go down to there. So that should, we're actually getting some pressure up. That's great news. So my only concern really with this is that, of course, the sealant itself wants to seal, right? So I've got to be quite quick between vehicles, potentially. So what I'm going to do now is a quick bit of maths so that I know what every tyre needs, and then I can pretty much keep moving. Because I think if I, especially with the sun out today, if I sit around, I've got a feeling that the pump might get gummed up. So for those wondering, you get the instruction manual with this, and they list all these tyres by rim size. So the front of this, my 3CX, for example, it's got a 20-inch rim. Don't know if you can make this out on here. It's a 400 by 70 by 20, the front tyre, which you can just see down here if it focuses on it. And that takes 160 units. Now, every pump stroke, as we've calibrated that pump, is 8 pumps. So I need to do 20 pumps to do 160 units, essentially. That's for one tyre. So what I've done is I've made myself a little list over here on a good old bit of cardboard, and I now know how many pumps I've got to put into each tyre, just for easy reference, really, so I don't have to keep going back to the booklet. But yeah, quite easy to work out, actually. And yeah, we should be easy enough to get on with this. So this is the product. They reckon it doesn't need stirring. It's all sort of doesn't separate, apparently. So it's kind of a pinky, gooey mixture. It's got fibres in it, which I think is part of the success of it. This is all part of the pump, and it screws on to the buckets that they send you. So if I get another system like this, I obviously won't have to buy the pump again. So that'll be a little bit cheaper, you know. I can just buy the tubs. Well, the first tyre didn't go exactly to plan. Basically, the stuff is very good at sealing up, and it keeps blocking in this little nozzle at the end here. In the literally the last bit of it. So it happened twice on that one, which is a pain. So obviously you've got to take that off, and then the valve is trying to let all the air out of the tyre and things. So it's a little bit fiddly. Difficult to record, but hopefully I'll get better at it. I think you just got to keep it, keep it moving. So we'll get on with this process, because I've only done one tyre so far. So all a bit of a learning experience. Get the valve out. So it isn't too bad. That then seals on there. Open your thing, and then we're on for 10 pumps, which hopefully it will let me do. If it does, then it'll be a quick old process, really. Right, that was 10 pumps. So that's nice and easy when it works. Get the valve cord back in. A little bit of a wipe up. It's definitely a job for a few rags lying about. Obviously, as the air's coming out, it's trying to force the stuff around a bit, but it's not too bad. Clean that up. Nice to have polished rims. And then get the airline. Get it back up to 30. I think this was the tyre that always had the slow puncture on it anyway. Lovely. Right, I'll update you. I've done 3 of the vehicles. I haven't done the JCB yet. That is, the tyres are so big, the amount of pumps it's going to take is going to take a long time, probably as much time to do that one as it will to have done all the others. Like the Land Rover only needed 2 pumps of tyre, so it was actually pretty straightforward. And when this goes well, this is actually a very straightforward process. I have had some issues though. I've had the valve blocked, the actual valve stem blocked a couple of times. I mean, it's in a way it's a sign that the product is very, very good because it's incredibly keen to seal itself, right? But it just blocks really, really easily. It doesn't seem to be because you've left it or anything. You know, one pump it'll do a full run, the next one it just won't move at all. Just seems to just do it. Sometimes you get, I think the best I've had is about 15 pumps before I've had a blockage, but sometimes it's half a pump, maybe 1. It's very, very frustrating. So that's sort of where we are. It's getting on to evening, and yeah, I don't want to be here forever. So the main bit actually that blocks is this little bit here, literally just that bit. I haven't had any issues with any of the rest of it. Just always blocks in there. At least you can unclip it easily and get it in the bucket of water. But yeah, it's been tricky. One of the valves I had to basically dig out with a drill bit because it just got so hard in there. You know, it wasn't letting any air out, which was great, but yeah, very, very, very difficult. So that's been a wrap for now. We'll see. The 3CX, I think the back tyres have got to take like 30 something pumps, which is going to kill me, to be honest, because that's going to take a while. If it pumped 30 pumps, it would be fine. It just doesn't. But there you go. That does, as I say, it sort of shows that the product probably will do a really good job because yeah, it's pretty gooey stuff, and the fibres and stuff get all bunged up. But anyway. That's where we are so far with the tyre seal. A bit more of a job than I thought. Good job I didn't try and start it yesterday morning. I thought, I'll be all right. And take an hour or a couple of hours, not hard. It's a bit more of a job than that, or certainly when you're trying to do 4 vehicles. So yeah, I think we're going to clean the pump out, and the backhoe is going to be done another day because, yeah, don't need that. Right, well, it's day 2 of the tyre sealant. The weather's totally changed. Back to rain for the week, so managed to get her in the barn. Fresh cup of tea. There's a lot of pumping to do on this one, but I have looked at the instruction manual again, or the little instructional video they do, and they said that you need to do some vigorous pumping. So we will be pumping very vigorously today to try and avoid those blockages, because that's well, yeah, frustrating. So let's see how we go. Well, the last 2 tyres on the other side have gone, I mean, exceptionally well. So the vigorous pumping, I think, is definitely the key to this, although it is quite hard work. The other thing I've done is I've changed the adapter. It came with 2 fittings for the end. One was like a cranked one at 90 degrees. The other one, this one is straight. And my thinking was, well, you know, the straight one probably will be easier for the stuff to flow into the valve because, of course, you're pressing against the pressure as well in here. So it is a little bit of hard work, but it does exactly what they say, not on the tin, but on their video anyway. It does seem to do it. So if I can get another 31 pumps into this one without a blockage, I think I'll be very pleased, because yesterday was a struggle. So yeah, if it goes well, it's actually a very, very quick process. Definitely something you could do in an evening. So we'll get on with this and see how we get on. Well, I say how we get on. The valve core doesn't want to come out of this tyre, so that's an interesting problem. Well, that's frustrating. I don't want to give myself a puncture today. Well, that ended up being a right pain, but I did get it out. So post the event, this is what happened. The little valve sort of core had separated here. So this bit was unscrewing, but it wasn't actually pulling the core out. So I had to find a little set of needle nose pliers, yank that bastard out, and of course had some spares. So that's all good. Strangely enough, this machine, 2015, it loves doing tyre. I must have put, well, this is the third one now. I think there's only one original left in it. Both the fronts, when I went to pump it up the first time, decided it wanted to create a puncture for me because the valve didn't want to seal again. So handy little things to have these. Yeah, keep some in the truck at all times. Well, the last tyre, so let's see if this one goes well. The valve core should come out of this one because I've changed it, of course. Can we see, can't we? I have to say the straight adapter on the end of that has been a key as well, I think. Literally just pushes on, there's no need to clamp it or anything. And for the tyres that have got these little valve guards around them, it's difficult to get that 90-degree fitting on, to be honest. So yeah, should have picked that yesterday. It's another key lesson learned here. It was always going to block, wasn't it? The problem is when you get a blockage, you need to really undo it, get your valve core back in so that you don't let all the air out of the tyre, and then go and take it around and wash it out. Bit of a pain. Go and get the water, I suppose. Now, the thing is that this generally, yeah, is absolutely fine in the actual hose itself. That's generally not the problem. It seems to just get blocked up inside these. So, the handy tool I discovered yesterday was the screw. Seems to be a great size for getting in here, pushing all this stuff out. I mean, as I say, it does prove that this stuff, it works, because if it blocks, you know, itself up this easily. Look at that. Yeah, the straight one's the way to go, guys. That's definitely where it's at. Yeah, if it self-seals itself that easily in that size hole, then it's obviously doing the job, right? Let's back out with the valve. The thing is, this tyre is quite, it's pumped up to like 35 psi, and they say the maximum you can do is 40. To be honest, I think you'd struggle doing 40. It's nice and easy. I think you'd struggle doing 40 because you're having to pump against the pressure, and that's the problem really. You can't pump fast enough, and then it blocks, which is what was going on there. It's quite tiring whacking 20 pumps into this, and 31 on the back is definitely a two-stop strategy. Anyway, we'll get pumping. It's actually much easier to pump now as well, which probably means it's getting blocked earlier, probably from when I had to stop and sort that valve out in the back. One more pump. There she is. Well, I have to say, this has been much easier with this straight valve connector on for sure. I think that is the key to this job. Right. Beautiful. Bit of a clean up. I mean, one blockage yesterday, I was getting a blockage every other pump, so that's made a huge difference. Really pleased with that. User error, as they say. But you've all got to learn these things, so I do the video, so you guys can learn and in your comfort of your own home, rather than having to struggle like I did. So that's the deal with the tyre sealant. Of course, I'll never really be able to know whether this product works, or because you don't get a puncture, you never know, do you? Would you have got the puncture that you didn't know you had? But I will give it a few months. Of course, it's in several of my vehicles now as well, and I'll keep an eye on the little leaks that I've had and see if that continues. And if it seals those up, then that's a good start to start with, isn't it? Of course, as I say, we'll never know about the punctures that it fixes, because it'll fix them. So anyway, thanks for watching. That's been Ollie Guns' tyre sealant exercise. Air seal products. Again, not paid by this at all. This is purely me just giving a product that I thought was a decent looking product to go. There's plenty of others out there, and I'd obviously always welcome if any of you guys have got experience of either this product or others, because it's about building that community, and trying to share our experiences and help each other out, right? That's what it's all about for me. You can find me on Instagram, Ollie Guns. Also, my company's Guns Contractors. I've got Facebook business pages, etc. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching me struggle, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.